This is YoungBlood Cody Blayde, and you're watching my New Scott interview with New Scott that you can see at newscott.com.
Alright, I'm back here with another New Scott interview, and today I'm joined with one of the most talented wrestlers in the Maritimes today, YoungBlood Cody Blayde. How are you doing today, Cody?
I'm doing great. Just got off work. Good to go.
Were you a fan of professional wrestling growing up? You're still growing up, but when you were younger.
Of course I was. Who wasn't it? When people say that, I'm like, weren't you a fan of wrestling when you were a kid? Isn't everybody a fan of wrestling when they were a kid? Like, what would make you want to be a wrestler? I know you want to be a wrestler too. Of course I was. I remember watching wrestling, like, as far as I can remember. I remember you having like little Earl Hebner, Matt and Jeff, and like a broken, and like the table you could break and the ladder, and Big Show with the water bottle and X-Pac. Oh yeah, I've always liked wrestling, buddy.
Who was your favorite wrestler to watch growing up?
The Undertaker, or Mankind, or Rey Mysterio. Probably be my top three.
Why those guys? Why did you gravitate to them?
Well, Undertaker, because like, you believe that he was dead. When I was a kid, I was like, Undertaker died 5 times, you can't beat him. And I really like Mick Foley because he got thrown off Hell in the Cell by the Undertaker. So like, he's the hardcore guy, and you believe that stuff. And then, well, Rey Mysterio because he did all the cool stuff. So that's why I like those guys.
What was it now? You're in a lot better shape now than you were when you first started wrestling. When you first started, or when you were watching wrestling, what was it about wrestling that you thought you could do? Like when I was a kid, I never once looked at the television and be like, I could do that, because those guys were gigantic, right? What was it about wrestling that you thought that you could do it?
Oh, well, I could wrestle my buddies. Like, we all wrestle outside with me, my cousins and stuff. We'd be giving each other suplexes and headlocks. Like, there's a lot of the stuff, but as I got older and I got more athletic, I'd see people doing flips and stuff, and I'm like, I could do that, but I kind of started wrestling in middle school and stuff, so I just always wanted to do it. I started wrestling in middle school in grade 9, and
amateur wrestling.
Yeah, amateur wrestling, and I was just naturally better at it than like a lot of the people who are already wrestling for like a year or two. And I'm like, all right, this could be a thing. And eventually, I thought getting into amateur wrestling would take me there, but found it's a whole nother route altogether by itself.
So you were using amateur wrestling to get into pro wrestling? That was your
That was my main idea, yeah.
Oh, awesome. Now, talking about amateur wrestling, how is it the same and different than professional wrestling? Obviously, professional wrestling, the end of the match is dictated beforehand, but there are certain similarities. A lot of like Kurt Angle was an amateur wrestler, won the Olympic gold medal. There seems to be a lot of parallels between successful amateur wrestlers and professional wrestling.
Well, it's like, there's a lot of things. There's like, it's the same as because when you training for wrestling is like, whether it's professional wrestling or amateur wrestling, training for wrestling is the most intense workout you're going to get. And when you train for that, you're training hard. It's like, the way you train it, it's like the muscle memory and your body movements, and you know what I mean? Like when you get to a certain point, you got to know to go a certain way, and it works both ways. Like you go for that single leg, you know you got to pull when you reach up under it, or the same as you go to do a backflip. In that moment where you're springing off, your head's got to snap backwards. It's, I don't know, just like the physical. I just love the physical aspect of it, you know. And because when you're chaining, if you know how to like shoot wrestling, you've been in amateur wrestling forever, how long, you're naturally gonna have an advantage at chain. So, and then you learn how to chain and like just go with it, and you do this and you do that. People can tell watching you chain if you amateur wrestler or not.
Did you follow maritime wrestling before you got into it?
I did. I did.
How old are you?
I'm 22 now.
Okay.
Yeah, I started going to shows when I was like 7 years old, and I lived in Windsor, so the only people that I remember ever coming through there was mainstream wrestling. And so my dad used to take me there as a kid, I remember watching like Grimes and Dice and Pelly and Chittick, and I remember I would get so into it, man. I'd get so into it. I'd always be trying to like get in the ring and stuff, and yeah, they'd always tell me to get out of the ring. And I'm like 7.
Wonder if you're on any of my old videos. I filmed almost every show.
If you filmed the Flaming Tables match,
it's one of the only ones I missed.
Ah, you suck. Or the cage match. There's a cage match with Southern Comfort, Chris Hamrick.
Totally forgot about that.
Pelly, and there's a cage match in there, and yeah, they stopped taking me to the shows because I remember there was a women's match. I think it was Portia Perez. Some of them hit the rope, and while she's like, I got her arms on the rope, I jumped up and I put popcorn in her bra. I put popcorn in the back of her bra, so my dad would take me to the shows no more after that.
How old were you then?
Oh, bro, it's like 7, 8.
That's hilarious. Yes, I think she was here in like 2008, 2009, somewhere around there.
Okay, well then I would have been like 12. Yeah.
That's funny.
So
yeah, she worked. Did she work 21st Century Fox on those shows? Do you remember?
Or maybe.
Or no, maybe that was the one with the new.
Maybe it was I can't remember, with the red hair.
Yeah, I remember the tour now.
Serenity Saint or
Purity Saint?
Purity Saint.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was yeah, she was here a couple of times actually. Now that I think about it.
Yeah.
How did you go about finding a trainer once you decided to become trained in professional wrestling?
Well, because when I went to those shows, I thought Kirk Starrett was the ring announcer, right?
Yep.
So I thought Kirk was Mr. McMahon. So I remember I was at one of the shows, and I was like, "So you must be the Vince McMahon?" He's like, "No, buddy, you would have talked to that guy over there." So I remember as a kid, he pointed to Devin Chittick. Walked up to Devin Chittick, and I was like, "You're gonna teach me how to wrestle when I get older." And man, 10 years later, almost to the day, I was on the internet one time, and I looked up wrestling school. It's just first time I even put it in the computer, and Chittick X-Ray Carl Cruz's picture was on there. So I messaged him, and it was like the first time I got a cell phone. I messaged him, and he messaged me back, and then I started training with him over in Burnside in like the end of grade 11. Yeah, I just turned 17, and I remember him and Pelly when they came to Windsor one time, and they did the Flaming Tables match, and he put him through the table that was on fire, and I lost my mind. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be a wrestler. I'm gonna be a wrestler. Yeah.
What was there something about the training that you caught on easy to, and was there something that was more difficult for you to learn?
Up and overs, I got.
That's what Cody said too.
Yeah. I got up and overs. Like, Kobe's first thing was an up and over?
No, I think he said he had trouble with them. He talked about it when I talked about his training.
Oh, yeah. Like when I did that up and over, I did the up and over like great the first time,
yeah.
And I was like, all right. And bumps sucked. Yeah. I think the hardest thing for me to get was the footwork, because I wrestled probably like maybe 2 years, and I didn't know what footwork was. So yeah, footwork was probably the hardest thing.
Was there something from your amateur career that helped you once you started training?
Yeah, I wasn't a pussy. Like I didn't like getting roughed up and stuff like that. So like getting smashed in the face was nothing to me. Like I know as much as we try to stop it from happening, but then when it does happen, good, you're still good to go. The stamina, it's when you're training for amateur. When you go to amateur wrestling practice, you go to pro wrestling training practice. It starts the same. You're all going to do a bunch of rolls.
Yeah.
You're all going to do a bunch of stretches. You're all going to do a bunch of takedowns, and you're going to start a hold. Well, now that you think about it, it's pretty the same. You're starting a hold, and then you work into the next hold, and to the next hold, and see where you can go from there. So it's kind of all the same, except you're not taking a bump in an amateur wrestling match.
Who was your first match against? Do you remember?
Pelly.
Where?
Sidewalk Sam at the same place we started training at.
You guys had like weekend shows there or something, right?
We had like 2, and it was like it was half MMA and half.
Right, there was the club 1-3. Well, it had numbers.
357.
357. All I remember is that it was numbers.
357 MMA.
Yeah.
Well, because you know what Gary's school was?
Yeah.
We were on the other side of the wall, just not at the same time.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where I had my first match with.
What are your memories of that match?
I punched him in the eyebrow. And it was oh buddy, it's a horrible match. But I remember I punched Pelly in the eyebrow and I cut his eyebrow open in the very first match. I didn't know how to throw a punch, but I punched him and split him wide open. But I remember I got chopped a lot, and I couldn't keep a straight face walking in the ring. I was like, I kept smiling.
You worked your first bunch of matches with mainstream wrestling. What are your memories of your early matches and your first taste of like going on the road?
Going on the road was the sweetest thing ever. Like, Chittick loved to party, so he made a party out of it like 24/7. And I was like 16 at the time, or 17, 18. I was usually in a bunch of trouble too, so going there I was able to turn up. Oh, it was sweet because thinking now the people that he brought back there, and like seeing where everybody is now, like Sarah Stock. Sarah Stock was on one of the first tours.
Is that the Beauty Slammers one?
Yeah. Bambi Hall, D-Man, Bia, beautiful Bia.
Skylar was the other one.
And
yeah. Caitlin Diamond.
Caitlin Diamond. I knew I was missing one.
Yeah.
Like all those people.
One of the most important ones. Come on now.
Yes. Caitlin Diamond has rippled a great effect. Yeah, like all those people to like see where they are now, to like see where I am now compared to there. It's such a change.
Yeah, what are your memories of the Beauty Slammers tour? I remember being in the back of one of the shows teaching you how to do push-ups.
I remember that. I remember that.
Beforehand, but that tour I think had a lot of hope behind it. I thought it was going to do a lot better than it actually did. But what are your memories of that? I mean, they had some super talented women here.
Oh well, there's so many. Where do I start on that one? I remember rolling down the hill with Serena. Serena D was on that one too.
Oh, yeah, how do we forget Serena? She's a trainer at the PC now.
Yeah.
Sorry, Serena.
I remember one time we were at the top of that hill and we just want to roll down this hill. Yeah, so we just rode down the hill like a couple of kids. I remember the truck broke down. I remember we had this ring crew thing going. There was like me, Bambi, Bia, and D-Man. We were 4 people doing ring crew like all the time. So we'd be like, ring crew. And sometimes I say it to them and they'll still get it. And I remember we were driving in the back of this ring truck. And
it didn't even have a back door, it just had a car, right?
It was sweet. We were like standing in the front of the back, like towards the cabin. You can see the like shaking out the back, and we're like climbing down towards it, like with our hands on the ceiling, trying to pull the tarp, like because it was held on by an extension cord. So we had to like hold on to the top while we're hooking it back inside the back of it, and then we get pulled over, so we had to go to a gas station. And so we wheeled out. We knew we were supposed to be in the back, so we all, 8 of us, came up the front when it's a 2-seater cab, and we all stayed at a gas station. There was me, Bambi, Bia, and D-Man. We stayed at the gas station, and Rumble and Pelly had to take this truck to go get weighed because they thought it had too much weight on it. So they did that, and then on the way back from there, they broke the transmission or something in it, and then they had to go fix that. And then luckily there was like more people coming to the show, and a couple hours later they came through and picked us up, and like 2 shows were canceled and 2 had to get moved. And the guy that was like, the guy that was, let's say, the money mark, basically, the sponsor, he's like, halfway through it, he's like, fuck. He's like, I'm done. I want to go home. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah, it was something else, but man, it was great. I remember the best part about that was I was on a house arrest or probation. I was on house arrest when I went on that tour, and I had to like get special permission from like the court to go on that. That's why I thought that tour was the greatest thing, because I wasn't able to leave my house like 4 months before that tour and 4 months after. So that tour was the greatest thing ever. I remember we were at the military bases a lot, or Moncto or something, and there was this one, all these military dudes were helping us. I remember this one guy, he had a drink in his hand, and every time I seen him, he had a drink in his hand, a piece of the ring in the other, and he never dropped it. And we got to go take a bunch of pictures on like tanks and stuff, and we went up to Cape Breton the first time, and oh man, just so many. There's a bunch of times we'll be on tour now and we're coming through because we did so many dates, like so many.
It was a lot of shows.
Yeah,
there was like 20-something shows in like just over 20-something days.
Yeah, something like that. I still got the T-shirt in my bedroom.
Me too.
And so we'll go when we can't do a tour now without being like, yeah, we were here on the Venus Slammers tour. Yeah. That tour was sweet.
Do you remember a match on that tour that you had with Jason Rumble? It was in Bridgewater, where he got extremely upset with you afterwards?
Yes, I did.
What happened there?
I threw him out of the ring. And I threw him out of the ring. Yeah, it was super green. It was probably like match 8. And I don't know what I was doing. I shouldn't have been wrestling at the time anyway, but we were halfway through the tour, so I seen him do a thing that he'd been doing like the whole week. So in the match, I was like, I'm gonna do that. And he got a little upset about that. And then, I don't think he really got mad about that, but when I got up and I like grabbed him and I threw him out of the ring, he was upset about that. But yeah, that's why he got upset, I'm pretty sure. He was foaming from the mouth!
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I was sitting in the locker room next to Pelly when he came in the room just screaming. It was something.
That's pretty upsetting.
At what point in time did you start taking fitness more seriously into your professional wrestling career? At what point did you realize that it was important?
God love you, Rumble. Rumble's good. That probably would have been when I met Massive, and he was probably like, you gotta get bigger. Like, I'd always be like, what do I gotta do? What do I gotta do to get better? And everyone was like, you gotta get bigger. You gotta get bigger. And you can say get bigger, but until you figure out what getting bigger actually consists of,
it's way harder. It's said than done.
You gotta understand that consistency is what's gonna make you better. Like you gotta eat all day. I think when I got to Massive and
Massive Damage, right?
Massive Damage, yes. That's when I got a chance to like get my grounds, like get a little bit of stability, and like start buying my groceries, start meal prepping, having money to meal prep, going to the gym like every day, training every day, and yeah. I think when I went out to Edmonton.
How long were you wrestling for before you went out to Edmonton?
Maybe a year and a half, a year.
Was it just mainstream you were working for out here till then? Or how did you work for other promotions?
I think I worked for CWA.
Oh, okay.
But no, I'd only done the mainstream stuff. Okay. Because back then I was Chittick's student. Yeah. And in a good way, I didn't go. He was like, at the time I was just wrestling for him because I didn't know any better, and I couldn't wrestle on my way to a paper bag anyway. So I was kind of glad I didn't. But then when I went out there, yeah, I only wrestled for Chittick when I went out there. And I did a show for heavy metal before I started with Massive, but I was already in Alberta then.
What made you go? Why'd you go out west?
we went out. I had all kinds of stuff going on outside of wrestling.
Okay.
And I found myself in a spot. I was like, something needs to change real quick. And my parents said I already gone out west, because when I was on house arrest, they had left because I was living with a girlfriend. I broke up with her, and I was coach hopping for like the next 6 months. Yeah, I was like, I lived with my uncle and I got kicked out of there, and I was on probation, and then I lived with my brother and I got kicked out of there, and I like went to Waterville for 2 weeks, and I was living with this guy who doing all kinds of stuff he shouldn't have been doing, and he's in jail, and I was kind of homeless at the time. I had places to crash, but I wasn't really at a place, so I was like, this has to change. So I was like, called my dad, I was like, I'm moving out to Alberta. He's like, alright. So that's why I moved there.
How did you get in contact with Massive? Was it through Gary or?
Sydney Steele.
Sydney Steele.
Sydney Steele. Because we did a show in Amherst. It was the first time I met Max Power, Sydney Steele.
Who's Sydney Steele? I don't recognize
Kevin
him.
Farrell.
Oh, okay.
Adrian Starr.
Yeah, okay.
And
I don't remember that particular name.
so Steele was on this ladder match, Royal Rumble we had.
That sounds amazing.
And
What the hell was that for that show?
I don't know. It was like, yeah, we did. Yeah, I remember there was a Kiss concert the night before, something like that. Yeah, so Steele was at that show, and I moved out west, and I knew that he was out west from Facebook. So I messaged him and I was like, I moved out here, I'm trying to start wrestling, and if you get a spot on a show, I'd love to come wrestle for you, all that good stuff. And he's like, where are you? I was like, I'm in Edmonton. He's like, you gotta hit up Massive Damage. So I messaged Massive.
Did you know who he was beforehand?
Massive? No.
Yeah, no.
I had no idea. I looked him up on Facebook, and he was a big, scary, mean-looking dude.
He used to work out here for Real Action Wrestling.
Oh yeah, he worked
back
for
in the
like,
day.
I think he worked for Emil too, way back.
He might have. I didn't start getting into it till Real Action Wrestling, so he definitely could have worked Grand Prix.
He worked.
Yeah.
He toured a lot with Pete and Mike and Chi Cruz and all those guys.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the picture of Massive, and just like looking like this, and I was like, I can't mesh as this guy. But we did a show. I did a show for Kevin. He's like, I got a spot for you. And I was like, sweet. And then I remember seeing Massive when he came around the corner. I shook his hand. He said who he was, and I was like, but before I could ask him if I could come train with him, he's like, where are you training? I was like, I'm nowhere, can I? He's like, you want to come train with us? I'm like, yes, I do.
What was the training like compared to the training you received out here?
Much different. Because it was more stable. I learned a whole lot more. I was there. I only trained with Chittick for like a month and a half before like we started doing tours. But so once I was there, I started like learning the basics and learning like actually learning.
Yeah.
And we were there every day. I was there every day. So there's like, it was beaten into me. Massive's got a good way of teaching you things.
What was the wrestling scene like out there compared to here when you were first starting?
Well, back then it was kind of the same, because there's like pretty much shows every weekend. Massive was running the show.
Monster Pro, right?
Yeah. Actually, when I first went out there, it was like maybe 2 shows a month, because Farrell would run a show every month. And
what was his promotion then?
Pure Power Wrestling.
Okay.
Down in Lethbridge. So we started getting to travel down there. That's a long drive, but you got to see some sweet stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, down there it was kind of cool. RCW was running, but they're also doing Edmonton, so it was like you only worked for one promotion in Edmonton, and well, I'm obviously going to wrestle for the promotion that I train at.
Right.
So like, but It was slow, but it was good. It's getting really big now.
How long were you out there for? 'Cause you've gone back and forth a couple of times, right?
Yeah, 3.
Yeah, 3, yeah. You're the king of loser leaf town matches.
Oh, buddy. But Vancouver's looking pretty nice.
Well, so how long were you out there the first time?
The first time it was like 8 months, I think it was. I went out in March, and I came back in December. I think that's when I went out there, so that's like 7 months, 8 months. And then I came back long enough to graduate, so I came back for a year.
Well, you're still in high school at this point.
I didn't even graduate yet.
Okay. Did you go to school out west?
I attempted to. I applied, but I applied to this school that was like 10 down the street from my house, and I had a meeting with the principal and everything. He's like, yeah, it was all good to go. And then like a week or so before the school was going to start, he told me I couldn't come because I was going to be 19 before I started, and I couldn't go there while I was 19. So I'm thinking, I was like, why didn't you tell me that like 2 months ago when we had a meeting? We made that perfectly clear. And I want to make a point of it, and I'm like, I want to graduate from high school. I don't want to do my GED or I want to go graduate high school. So I came back and I moved it with Chittick, and I lived with him over on Jackson Road. And
lived in that house. Is that the house with like the holes in the floor? Like,
probably. You walk in and you can go this way. You can go downstairs. Yeah. It was the basement. We were at the basement in the Bret Hart shot.
Yeah. That's where I filmed this 4-hour shoot.
Yeah. So I came back here and I started.
When you came back here, did you feel, and started wrestling again, did you feel like a more accomplished wrestler than you did when you left?
I didn't feel it, but I had a much different response than how I did before. Like people, I don't know, I feel like more people were seeing me, and like I was getting better feedback after my matches. I'm like, I'm still not sure. I can do this, I can do that, but like, I still didn't get it quite yet. And Chittick was doing UCW, so he would do the tours, and I was living with him, so I was a student, so it was sweet. So I was always on those shows. So it was a little different. Like Chittick was just running more a different company.
What was it like when you were working for that UCW? Devin was booking, and Chuck was like the owner of the promotion. What was it like working for Chuck at that point in time?
Oh man, compared to here, it's night and day. It's UCW now is what Russell Center was when it was what it was, because it's just the top. But then the crowds weren't there, the people weren't there, it wasn't there, the quality wasn't there. You couldn't even half the people on the roster, like, you couldn't even really call wrestlers. And now it's like, now UCW is the biggest thing going right now. It's got the biggest crowds, it's got the biggest names, it's got the best matches. So it's crazy. I don't even think you could put the main roster back then on the VIP show now. Yeah, it's just so much different. Everything's different.
Hold on. At what? I'm just trying to figure out how to word the question. I'll fix this in the thing. When did you start working with other promotions? When you left, you were just working mainstream. They switched to VCW. You went out west, worked for some out there, came back again working for just Devin. When did you start working for other people? And who was the first?
As much as I hate to say this, I started getting booked Because obviously I went out with Madison. Everybody knows that.
Oh yeah.
So
King and Queen and Kayfabe or whatever that was.
King and Queen at Kayfabe. I still got that T-shirt too. Yeah. When I started hanging out with Madison, she didn't really wrestle.
She was ring announcing, right?
She was ring announcing.
Yeah.
And she went up to Julian's New Year's Eve party, and I went up to Julian's New Year's Eve party, and I met everybody up there. And then when I moved out of, when I graduated, I moved out of Chittick's and I moved in with Madison. So then we weren't, yeah, and I moved in with Madison for a little bit. And then I went back out to Edmonton, second time. And then...
So you, even when you went out the second time, you hadn't wrestled for another promotion out here?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. Maybe just...
when did you...
Mainstream... No,
because Mainstream was done.
New Breed.
New Breed.
And I think I did ACWA.
Okay.
But then... That was just because Chittick got me on all those shows because I was living with him and stuff. Whenever I went up to New Breed, because New Breed and MSW ran together, remember? Like they'd have the same roster,
okay,
but they just have a different, like, we're having Mainstream and everybody's going to work on NWE the next night.
You mean NWE, not New Breed Wrestling that runs in Truro?
No, I mean Sean Nelson.
Oh yeah, that's NWE.
Yeah, okay, I'm getting that right. NWE. So then we went up there. I used to go up there with him, and then we do the Mainstream one because Chittick and
Damien Dredd.
I
can't remember his real name.
He's gonna kill me.
Steve.
Steve LaRock.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Steve LaRock used to do shows,
Yep.
and then Saint, we did ACWA as well, because Saint was doing that one, and he used to be on the Mainstream tours too.
Yep.
So I don't know. It's hard to like think of the different ones because it was just like everybody from the Mainstream.
Right.
Mainstream was like my roots, I guess, like that. And that's how I went to other places, like, because Chittick was in the Mainstream. He took me up to Sean Nelson's thing, and then Steve LaRock, and then Saint was from those original tours too. But yeah, and then when I started staying with Madison after I graduated, I went back out to Edmonton, and then that's when it kind of started to pick up, I think.
Okay. So you're living with Madison. Why did you go back out west the second time?
Because I told Madison I would. I told everybody.
Because you were living there and you didn't want to stay there, or you?
I told when I was in Edmonton. They welcomed me in with open arms.
Yeah.
But when I went to Edmonton, I didn't want to leave, but I wanted to graduate high school.
Right.
So I told everybody, I was like, I'm going home to graduate. I'll be back when I graduate.
Oh, okay.
And then it just happened to start going with Madison. But I was like, I told these guys I was going back, so I gotta go back. And then, yeah, so I moved back to West.
And you were wrestling again for Monster Pro? Or?
Yeah, I was training again with Massive. That's when Massive had the sweetest training school ever. He had the wrestling school up at the Gold's Gym.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so you'd go in and the entire gym would be downstairs, and you walk up the stairs, and he had 2 rings with a mirror, and it looked down on everything. And there was like a protein supplement store inside the gym, and they did up smoothies for you, and they had bars, and it was at a mall, man. It was sweet. You couldn't get any better than that.
And how long were you out there the second time?
About another 7 months. I think I think it was almost a year. I went out in January and I came back in September. something like that. And then that's when I started wrestling for Kevin a lot more. And then we did, that was when the Heart Legacy things happened.
Right.
And who else did we do? Yeah, we went out to Thrash, and I got to work in BC. Yeah, a lot of, that was a solid time out there.
Who did you get to work while you were out there? Was there any?
I got to train with Johnny Devine. I got to train with Phil Faw.
Sarah's training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else was out there? I got to wrestle Teddy in a tag match.
Teddy Hart?
Yeah.
Yeah. How was that?
It was a Heart Legacy match. I got to work with Matt Hart. That was fun. That guy's I really like Matt. He's super solid. So yeah, I got to go to like Calgary, and you know, it's Calgary, so I soaked that up as much as it was. I got to wrestle with Zach Mercury.
Nice.
He's really cool.
Have you done any of the death tours yet at this point? Because you've done them, right?
Yeah.
Did you do Tony Candelo's or the other one?
I hadn't done Tony's yet.
Okay.
And
who's the promoter of the other one?
Chris,
right. Okay.
That runs CWF.
Have you done those? Did you do those while you were out there the first 2 times, or was that the third? Or did you just go out before that?
I did one that was a week long. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd already done. No, I did. We picked Madison up at the end of a winter tour, and then it was like a couple days later we actually went out. So I hadn't done a death tour yet, but I had contacted them and we'd been in touch. So I think when I was in Edmonton that winter, holy crap. No, I hadn't done one till I came back from Edmonton then.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are those tours like? I mean, we hear all the stories. Like, how long was the longest one you did?
6 weeks.
Yeah. You can only take like one bag of stuff too?
No.
No?
I think, no, one was 7 weeks, because last year I did Thorns and Tony's.
Oh, so you did do Tony Candelo's?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was last year. Yeah, oh no, it was, I took 2 bags. I had a gear bag. I took a gear bag and a merch bag. And I might have had a backpack full of clothes. Though that's cold, man.
Yeah, explain that. A lot of people don't get it. I mean, like, they hear the stories from Edge and Christian and Rhino and all those guys, but explain to them what it's like. Like, you're driving in a van over frozen lakes that could break at, like, any time.
You don't think about that, bro.
No, but I mean, that's what you're doing. It's like negative $1 million. And you're running these reserves.
Well, yeah. You're just you're basically living in a van for a month. You just go for real long drives, and you guys tell about the same stories 4 or 5 times, and it's just something else. You go to those grocery stores, man, and everything, all the prices are jacked through the roof.
$12 for a loaf of bread?
Oh man, it was like $20 for a jar of Cheese Whiz. I don't even eat Cheese Whiz, but I was like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know, man, it's rough. It's really rough. So Buddy wouldn't let you, like, there's no smoking or drinking on the tour for like the entire 6 weeks. The ice is so slippery, man, that you couldn't even stand on it. There was times when we would crash. Crashing sucked. There was me, Jesse, Bieber, Bobby Sharp, and Rex Atkins, and us and Bobby, me and Bobby in this one, and we're watching, me, Jesse, and Bobby are in one van, and Rex is in the first one. So Rex drives, and it's on this real icy hill, and it's almost like what you think a NASCAR track would be like, all like sideways.
Yeah.
And they go, and they're trying to make the turn, and they go right into the ditch. I'm like, oh man, why would they do that? So we go like drive around them, and going around them makes you go uphill. We went right in the ditch in front of them, so we had to like walk an hour in the rain to this hospital to go call somebody to go tow us. It sucked. And then when we got to the hospital, we're like, is there any cops that can come take us out of the ditch? And they're like, no, they're gone till Monday. In my head, I was like, perfect time to like break in some. But yeah, I remember we like slept on the floor, and then they eventually came and got us like 3 hours later. And then the lady, that was at the desk wherever we went to, she like gave us a blanket, and yeah, she gave us a blanket. We had to like sleep in the lobby, and then she's like, all right, patients are gonna come in, so you gotta go in there. So we went in there, and then when Chris Thorne and everybody got to the hospital to come pick us up, she's like, oh yeah, I took care of them so well. I gave them hot chocolate and bread and coffee and pillows, and I let them watch TV. And I was like, we didn't get any of that. I was like, we're cool with the blanket and the floor, but you didn't give us that. But and it gets real cold. There's been, when else did we crash? There's another time we crashed. There was ruts in the ground, and one truck got through it. One truck got halfway through it and he got stuck. So we sat there for 6 hours waiting for somebody to like come pull us out. Because a lot of the times you get stuck and an 18-wheeler would come by like every 2 hours to like pull you out. But one time we got stuck in the mud so bad that we sat there for like 6 hours and we couldn't get out. We're like, all right, nobody's coming. So eventually we had to get everybody out of one van, and the van had like back up and like fly over these ruts to get across it, and then everybody got back in the van, and Rex and somebody had to stay in a van, and we left for like 6 hours to like the nearest people. Had to come back for help to get these other guys out to like pull them out. So we had to unload the ring out of the van that we had it in onto a pickup truck, and we left the van there and took the ring to the reserve in the back of a pickup truck, did the show, and then we got the van out, and then after the shows were over, we drove the ring back in the back of the pickup truck, and then loaded it back up into the van and kept doing this tour. Man, there's so many. And then there's another great time. Ricky Ray Ross, or the legendary Ricky Ray Ross. We were driving across this ice, and the ice was so slippery that we were holding on outside of the door with our arm in the window, and we were like skiing, like with our feet on the ice, but our like arm in the window, and it was the greatest thing ever.
Did you guys use the really small rings on those store? Were they 10 by 10 or 12 by 12?
No, I don't think it's that short.
Wasn't that small? Like the Tony Candela one was like 10 by 10 or 12 by 12. It is like edge could like lay across and like touch both sides.
He's super tall.
Yeah.
I don't think it was that short.
No.
Tony's ring is heavy and stiff.
What's it like working in the smaller ring though? You gotta change the way you do stuff?
Yes. Yes and no. Well, because the ropes on those ones ain't the best. They're just there to like have a ring. They're not.
They're just there for aesthetics.
You ain't wrestling no high spots ring out there. It's something just past a boxing ring. Thorne's was pretty good, but Tony's was super stiff, and I learned.
Probably the original ring.
Yeah, it is. He told me, he was like, everybody's bumped in this ring. And I was like, this Rey Mysterio. He's like, Rey Mysterio's bumped in here, but everybody else is bumped in this ring. Yeah, it's way shorter. They're not like, I don't find it's that much like smaller.
Okay.
But it's like this high off the ground, maybe.
Like Devin's bar show ring, something like that, or even shorter.
I don't remember Devin's bar show ring,
Okay.
but I remember his old ring that was really sweet, the one that he did the Beauty Slammers one with.
Yeah. Yeah, that one was really low.
Was it that
one?
one?
No, maybe he had a different one for that.
No, you go.
Now.
If it
He
was that
he had
low,
a different one.
If it was that low, Brett would have been able to jump onto the air.
Yeah. No, he had one for when he ran Doolittles. It was like cut in half, so it could fit in the bar. Yeah, height wise.
I didn't get to wrestle in Doolittles I don't know if
You've never. I was going to ask you that. You've never been there?
I was supposed to, but I wasn't old enough to be in the bar, so they kicked me out of the...
You weren't even allowed to stay for the show.
No!
I forgot about that.
Yeah!
So you're out west for the second time. Why do you come back?
I came back out west, basically to go be with whoever I was being with. Come back to be with my girlfriend at the time. And then, I don't know, I made some great connections. Like I started getting booked in IHW, and then we started doing the Thorn tours. We did a Thorn tour when I came back. That was...
So you do Ontario?
Yeah, we did Ontario and Quebec, New Brunswick. We might have did Manitoba on that one, but with others from all together on Thorn's tour, we've gone to like Saskatchewan to like New Brunswick.
Okay.
And everywhere in between. It's insane.
That's a lot, yeah.
It is a lot. It's so much fun. Every time you go see somewhere new, like, have you ever heard of Flin Flon, man?
Sounds familiar, but I can't.
It's named after a magician.
Yeah.
Flanagan Flanagan. There's a, yeah. But yeah, so I came back here and I started making sweet connections in New Brunswick, and new breeds started coming around in ACWA, and eventually I got to work with Mike.
What was it like working for IHW the first time? That was a big step up in competition from around here, from what you're used to with like Titus and Julian and those guys. What was it like working for them at that point?
Well, my first match for IHW, I wrestled as a girl.
Amazing. What? How? Why?
Well, they'd had the big thing there, having Madison's first match. They had it there before she went on a tour or whatever. So when they came back, they didn't have anybody to wrestle her. I was like, so I'll wrestle for her.
I remember now, yeah.
They didn't have anybody to wrestle Madison. They pushed her that they had her big first match there. And I was like, well, I'll wrestle her under a mask or whatever. So I put this mask on, and it was pink, and I had these leggings on, these tights or whatever. And Pete looked at me.
Brody Steele?
Brody Steele looked at me, and he's like, you look like a girl, you might as well wrestle as one. And I was like, alright. So I did. And so I went out there and wrestled as a girl. Did this little Jana Gomez thing where just acting like a girl and talking a real high pitched voice, and people thought it was funny.
And then moving forward in IHW as not the girl?
Well, when I started off, I didn't really get a lot. I started wrestling with like Fuego Dragon, and I was just always there to help. Eventually, I did get a match with Titus, and I was like, all right, this is sweet. Titus is really good. I always wanted to wrestle Titus.
Yeah, okay. There was a show one time where it was supposed to be Duke and Titus, and then
yeah.
someone got hurt, and you worked one of them?
So...
Is that right?
Yes. Titus and Burke had a rivalry or something, and they had a pull. They got into it beforehand, and Titus got punched in the face, and his eye started bleeding. And I remember he was supposed to wrestle Dukes later on.
Right.
Something was it? Duke said something. He's like, I'm supposed to be the baby face. How am I gonna get sympathy when this guy's got a black eye? Give me somebody else. Or something along those lines.
Yep.
And I was just somebody else, so I got to go wrestle Dukes.
How was that match? Because he's super talented.
I'd never been more nervous for a match ever, and I remember I dropped a real stiff knee on his forehead by accident. Didn't mean to So that was really nerve-wracking, but I don't know. It was after that match that people were like, I didn't like shit the bed. So after, I think it was Chris Hicks. He's like, yeah, man, I look at you. Someone said something like, I look at you totally different now, and I was like, I've been doing the same kind of thing for like the same minute. I don't know. And then I got to wrestle like Pete, Brody Steele, the same weekend. So it was a really good weekend when all that happened. And so yeah, I don't know. I felt like I had a good spot in IHW at that time.
You started working for Red Rock as well.
Yeah, I reached out to Mike Hughes, sought him, sent him that message that I really wanted to go work for him. And funny, what happened is that when I used to get in trouble, there was this cop who, I've been in the backseat of his car, but he'd also taught me how to wrestle in grade 10. He was our grade 10 wrestling coach.
Okay.
His name was Steve McPhee. And apparently Steve McPhee and Mike Hughes are good buddies.
Of course they are. Mike knows everything. That's the thing.
Right?
That's the joke, yeah.
No, but it's a cop. So I messaged Mike and I sent him that message and he's like, oh, well, Steve McPhee put in a good word for you, so I guess that's good enough for me to give you a chance. I was like, no way! I could not believe it. Oh yeah, I was super happy when I first got to wrestle for Mike.
What were those shows like for you?
Oh man, Mike's shows are awesome.
Yeah.
Mike's shows are really sweet. I think the first one I wrestled for him, I wrestled Zach in Upper Clemens, Amherst or Upper Clemens Park, one of those two.
Yeah.
And yeah, or maybe it was Steam. I don't know, but Mike has sweet shows. Everything's like done.
Everything's the way it should be.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly. I remember when he had that big show at the college, Highland College.
Holland College.
Holland College.
Yeah.
That show was really impressive. The setup was so nice, and the crowd was huge. He had the Titantron or whatever set up, and just the way everything was, the lights, and oh man, it was so nice. Mike runs a good ship.
He does. And you also worked for New Breed Wrestling. Andre runs it, or
Yes.
The Answer. What are your memories of working for them?
New Breed is really sweet because I don't know. I feel like New Breed's looked at as like one of them, just promotions that isn't really around, just because they don't wrestle so consistently. But I don't think I really realized how long New Breed has been around.
It's been around a long time.
Yeah, it's probably longer than I have.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's they had a different name originally, I think, but my first New Breed show was like 2006.
Really?
I don't know how long before that they were running, but Troy was wrestling there as Vincent Spinelli, I believe was his name, and that was in 2006.
What?
Yeah. You don't know that?
No.
Ask Troy about Vincent Spinelli. Sorry, Troy. And Chris Cook was back then too. I can't remember what he wrestled as. I think he was still Chris Cook. Jason Holiday was on there.
He was at one of those New Breed shows.
Canadian Heartthrob, I believe.
Looks like the white version of my brother-in-law.
Andre came around at some point in time back then. Shane, Stevens.
Was Tyson back there too?
Steve Arsenal, Tyson
Hamilton?
No, he came after.
Okay.
Yeah, he did do some of the New Breed shows, but not way back then. The ring was built of tires underneath.
What?
Oh yeah, it was terrible. No, it was before any of these guys got really trained, right? It was what they were doing in the meantime.
Yeah, I remember.
In the same place too, in the Debert Legion.
I remember when I was like 10. There was this guy down the road from me, and he'd always go and wrestle with his buddies at my elementary school, and they filmed it and recorded it. It was basically backyard wrestling,
Yeah.
but I didn't realize it. I thought it was the greatest thing in the world, man. They had like DVDs and things set up, and I remember I called the guy, and I was like, man, can I come wrestle with you guys? Like, I really want to do it. He's like, no man, you're too small. You can't come wrestle for us.
You don't got what it takes. You can't cut it. What, you also did the Wrestle Nova Scotia tours as well. Or at least one of them.
I did one of them.
What do you remember to that? I think there was one show you did, right?
I did.
You weren't even booked on the show when you got there, and you got.
Yeah, I was supposed to. Oh man!
I was the ref that night, and you were.
There was the ACWA show.
Yeah.
It was the day before, and they had dropped. Caitlin Diamond was down for that tour.
Yeah.
I wrestled Kobe the night before, and then we wrestled a tag match versus Kobe and Caitlin Diamond. And then they drove me to the airport. I was supposed to go out for a CWF tour. It was a summer tour. They did that Vice documentary they just did a documentary about the tour that they were doing, and I went to the airport. I got on the plane and I went to sleep.
Just one second, just have to.
That's funny.
Go ahead.
I got on the plane and I went to sleep, and then next thing I know, I'm waking up and I'm on the plane. I was like, all right, sweet, slept through the whole thing. And they're coming, I'm standing in line, and the thing's telling me to go stand in line. So I'm standing in line, I'm looking over, see this Halifax store at this airport. And I'm supposed to be in Montreal, yeah, because there's a layover. And I was like, that's pretty dumb, don't you think? She's like, what do you mean? I was like, they got a Halifax store in Montreal. How dumb is that? The lady looked at me, she's like, we're still in Nova Scotia. And I was like, what? So apparently, the plane ran out of gas, flew up in the air, did a circle, came back down, and the next day was a Windsor show, so I thought I already missed the tour, like they weren't gonna wait for me. So the next day we wrestled in Windsor, and we drew nobody. Like the ring was bad, there was nobody there, but that was the first time I met Mike.
That was the first time you ever met Mike?
Yes, it was.
Oh wow, I didn't realize that.
That was the first time I met
What was your first impression of the cowboy?
Oh, he seemed pretty cool. He wasn't like, he just seemed like a normal big dude. It's funny because usually when you hear a bunch of stories about people like Mike or Pete or like people who you hear stories about, you're expecting, you never know what to expect.
Right.
You just see people, and then everybody you hear stories about is usually just like the next guy you hear stories about. You know, everybody's just a regular dude.
Oh yeah.
Trying to wrestle.
Trying to make a living.
Yeah, some of them actually do.
So now you're working regularly for UCW. The difference, you talked about it a little bit earlier. What do you think of how UCW, Ultimate Championship Wrestling, is running right now and what they're doing? Because you kind of get pushed. I don't get to the New Brunswick shows. You were like on the main shows here and the VIP shows. Is it similar to that in New Brunswick as well for you?
No, I don't. I'm not on the VIP shows anymore in New Brunswick. It's really different because I don't know. Now that there's a new booker, and I think he's doing everything that I think should be done. I don't know. I got my faith in Buddy.
In Buddy. Hey, Buddy.
Yeah, I don't know. Since Burke's taken the reins, everything has. It was going like this, and now it's going like this. Like it's going to new lengths. Like I think Wrestle Center had set a standard, and we're like hitting it and going past it. Because when
people shit on Wrestle Center all the time.
I don't shit on
I don't either. I had a blast working there.
You're the most old person there.
Yeah, I was. That's funny. Not really. But I had a blast working there. I mean, they always treated me really well. They drew really well all the time. I mean, I don't know anything about their financial situation, but there was lots of people to all the shows. I mean, you wrestled there once or twice?
Once. I wrestled
Like
that bowling. I wrestled that bowling! Yes.
Yeah, they closed shortly after that, I think, like a show or two later.
Yeah, the whole fire extinguisher.
Yeah. I was sitting on the apron with Dreamer when that happened.
That was funny. Because, yeah, it was like after... When I went out west the second time, the Matt Hardy tour.
Yeah.
Because Chick was doing it, and I was going to come down...
you weren't on that tour, right?
No, I was going to... I wanted to come home and visit, and I was like, yeah, I'll come visit when that tour is. He's like, bro, there's like 50 people on this tour. No room.
That was a lot.
I was like, all right, no worries. And then the Rikishi, I think it was like the Rikishi tour and the Matt Hardy tour, with the transitioning of like UCW.
Eric's first real UCW tour was the Matt Hardy tour. After he became like, he wasn't as big of a deal as he is now until Wrestle Center. Like, he really started to shine during the Wrestle Center. He got to work a lot of the top guys that they brought in, and he shined in all of those matches.
That was the first time I seen him.
And then he left because he left Wrestle Center. Wrestle Center shut down, one or the other. And then he started doing he did the UCW tour with Matt Hardy. He worked Steve Arsenal on most of the shows, and then worked Matt Hardy the last night of the tour in Halifax, and that brought him to a new level. And then you talked to the Rikishi tour. It was after the Rikishi tour that he took over UCW. So that, you're all right, that's where the switch was. That was the point of my speech there.
and I was gone for all that. Yeah. So like, everything was completely different. Like, it wasn't the same anymore. So before, I didn't have to worry about like worried about my spot, because the guy who broke me in was running the tour, and I'm like, all right, things are different now.
Yeah.
So it's when I really like tried stepping it up a bit, and then that was something else.
You were who have you gotten to wrestle on the newer version of the UCW shows that you really enjoyed being in the ring with? Because you've wrestled Suave.
Oh.
Who else have you gotten in the ring with?
Oh man, all the guys that like, he's given me a chance. Every time I feel like I get a chance to work somebody who's like, oh, you're working that guy. Like, I don't know, like, I get the chance to work Matt Angel, Travis Toxic.
You worked Toxic?
In a 4-way and in a 3-way.
That's awesome. So that must have been in New Brunswick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
you're gonna get to New Brunswick.
yeah, you do. And Uno, it was sweet to get to work Uno and Burke, and it's, oh man. So those guys right there, it's like, even those guys are putting on prime matches everywhere they go. Those people are making their names, and so when I get to be considered to be in that same kind of category where it's like, you could have a match with this guy, and you could have a good match with this guy, it's like, I don't know, it humbles you a bit. So those are some of the top guys that I like, wish I get to work a little bit more.
Alright, we've changed locations here. So you were just talking about everybody that you've worked. Is there anybody out there right now that you haven't worked that you would like to work?
Mike Hughes. Well, around here, I feel like Mike's probably like the only guy. Mike or Duke Mackay's like, I haven't got to work either of those guys. But outside of that, I want to. It'd be sweet if I could work. Who was it I was thinking about the other day? Who was it I was thinking about? Josh Alexander, Jesse Bieber. There's a, and I can't think of his name.
It's alright, if you think of it, you can just throw it out there.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of guys out in Quebec that it would be really awesome to have a match with.
Do you work for NSPW?
Yes.
Yeah.
We have a match at NSPW. I'm wrestling.
Are you going up Saturday?
I wrestle Ivan Sullivan for the TV title on Saturday. That'll be sweet. Ivan's really great to work with. We had a match. It was me, him, and not Tom Blanc. There's another guy. I just wrestled Ivan like a month or two ago.
Did you work for, have you done any Steam shows?
Yes, he does the Lobster Festival.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I wrestled Zach. Yeah, I wrestled Zach. And then the next night I wrestled Zach again. I wrestled Zach for Mike at Red Rock, and the next night I'm pretty sure I wrestled him for Steam. And then we did not have a very good match at Mike's, and then the next night we had a much better match. And I was like, why wasn't that as...
Sometimes that happens though, you know?
I know, I was kind of upset with it. I was like, man, because Mike hyped it up, and then we did not do justice, and then the next night it was just like a spur of the moment thing, and I was like, we could just switch those.
Okay, so right now there's a lot of controversy and stuff going on in maritime wrestling. Big smile. I did an interview with Cody the other day. I don't know if you heard what he said, but what are your thoughts on what's going on right now with people telling other people they can't work other places? Have you experienced that? And your opinion on the whole situation?
Well, as I was telling you when you walked in here, is that that switch happened. That all started to happen when I went out west the third time. Yeah. Right? Because I went out.
Oh yeah, you lost your like 19th loser leaves town match, but this time you lost to Madison, and then you went out west.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
then I lost when to come out from there to come here. Then. Yeah. So yeah, when I was coming back, I was messaging IW and Mike and Burke. So everyone was down for these shows, and then I remember Burke was like, I kept asking people for dates. Nobody wanted to give me dates, and I was like, Burke, while I was out west, I wrestled Kyle Sebastian for like PPW heavyweight title or something like that, and I made a tweet about it. Burke was like, he commented on it, he's like, you should come back. We need you, or I could use you, or just come back. And I was like, man, I just got out here. I don't really want to come back out already. And then, I don't know, eventually I decided to, and it was like I was on my way home, and I had made a stop in Ontario before I did, and I was messaging Kevin Tyler, and I was messaging Burke, and Burke gave me dates for the next 6 months, and I had been asking Kevin for it. I was like, give me a date. He's like, yeah, we'll get back to you. And then Burke was like, I'll give you bookings for 6 months. Just don't wrestle Moncton and Halifax. Just wrestle for those guys for UCW. I said, fine. I got no problem with that. And then IHW had a match, had a show. I think it was the first one they were bringing Mike over to it. And they're like, can you work this show? And I was like, I told Buddy I would work for him in those towns, in those cities. And then they were not, said something about, don't fall for that shit. He's doing this to everybody and nobody else is falling for it. And I was like, man, what other towns do you want? I'll do those ones. And they stopped messaging me, so I was like, all right.
They being IHW?
Yeah. So I was like, man, just what other towns do you got? If you got other towns, message me back, and I'd be down to work those ones. They're like, all right. And then I had messaged them. There was a thing. They were wrestling somewhere, and I was like, yeah, do you got a spot on that card for me? They're like, it's Moncton. I was like, no, it's not. They're like, well, it's close enough. And I was like, all right, I get the point. So then it kind of basically became a competition. And that's what they started saying. So I was like, all right, well, Burke, you're my basket, and I'm putting all my eggs here. Like, he's obviously doing something right. Look at the crowds, and why wouldn't you want to be a part of UCW right now? I don't understand. But so that's my take on a lot of that. And
I don't think it's. I agree fully with what you said. He's done an amazing job from bringing UCW from where it was to where it is now. It's night and day. You wouldn't even believe it was the same promotion.
But the only issue was when I was coming back, and that was the only issue with me. Before, everybody was on the same shows. You had Titus, and Titus was coming back and forth, and everybody was.
And that stopped in like April, because Titus was his last show was in April. When
I don't know what happened there. He was booked and couldn't make it. Or, I don't know. I don't know what happened there. But I don't know. It was. I find a lot of people have an opinion about IHW, but like when push comes to shove, it's like brother. I don't know. IHW was the big thing for a point in time, but look at IHW's crowds right now. They're not the big. IHW isn't what it used to be. And it really sucks that this split has caused their crowds to go down, but the crowds are at UCW right now, and that's the place to be, and that's where I'm at. I don't know, they got a lot of faith in me, so I'm gonna work hard for them. All my eggs in this basket. I don't know, the whole controversy and stuff like that. It's all kinds of drama, dude, and I really don't like
stay
that.
out of it, right?
I just do my thing.
Yeah,
proper
thing.
I'm not. Yes, do my thing.
Focus on what you're doing.
If you look at the UCW's posted the dates for the next 6 months.
I saw that. Yeah.
And it's between NSW and UCW, and I get the privilege to be on a lot of NSPW shows. And I'm usually on most of the UCW shows, so.
Yeah, you've been on every one I've been to when you're here.
I'm good to go.
Yeah.
It was, but I don't know, man. Like, I'm in a good spot right now. IUW is drawing not a lot of people right now, so wrestling there is not wrestling there is not a big deal.
Okay. Yeah, no, like I told you before, everyone has their own opinion. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's what is happening to you. What happened to him may never happen to you, and vice versa, right? It's not trying to say you have to say what he said or he has to say what you said. I want to actually know like what's going on with you, because everyone has a different opinion, right? And it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't mean one's right and one's wrong.
The best part about Cody teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, he talked about that. He talked about how. I said this in his interview, and I'll say the same thing to you. Every show I go to, I'm there quite early in the afternoon. There's everybody else standing outside of the ring. You and Covey are the only two people in the ring for hours before the show, going over stuff, training, doing whatever it is that you're doing. And I'm going to miss seeing that, because I really enjoy watching you guys do stuff before. What are your thoughts on that? That you two, like, do you agree with what I said? That you two are the only two in the ring?
Ever since I started wrestling, it doesn't matter if you're 5 years, or 2 years, I'll be like, show me something in the ring. I say it every time there's a ring set up. And Kobe's usually the guy who like, oh, well, try this or try that. So Kobe's usually the guy where I know he's going to teach me something if I ask him to teach me something. And that really sucks that we're not going to be able to like share the same shows and all that stuff. But I'm glad we still got that training spot where we do right now.
Yeah.
But the best part about Kobe, and I told it to him like one of the first times we were hanging out at his house. I love the guy, but we do not have the same opinion on a lot of things.
Yeah, me and him, wrestling-wise, polar opposites.
Yeah.
He's the most amazing guy to talk to about wrestling because of that, right?
Yeah, you could sit there. Don't ever try to argue with him because you will lose.
We talked about this in the interview. We literally have polar opposites opinion on what like we enjoy with professional wrestling, but we have enough respect for each other and like each other enough that we can just talk about it like adults. And not argue. And you can't, for whatever reason, you can't do that with most people. If I have a different opinion than you, generally one of us is going to get upset.
You're wrong.
You're stupid. You know what I mean? And that's just the way it is. But with me and him, I filmed, our interview was over 3 hours long. I stopped filming and I sat there and we talked for like probably another 4 after that, just about wrestling, and it's completely different. And that's him though, and I love hearing his opinion on things.
Oh yeah, you can talk to Kobe for 4 hours and you can listen to talk to him.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's the best part about the guys. Like you can be like, this is why I think that. I can see why this is your opinion, but this is mine.
Yeah, and we can both say, like, okay, you know, you're right on that. I was wrong, and vice versa, right? Like, if we see something, maybe
he's had to tell me I was right at least twice.
At least he said it to me once yesterday. That's or Tuesday. It was the first time.
You gotta roll it.
Yeah.
That guy could argue and make you believe that the sky was green when you know damn well.
Yeah. It's blue, but he's so passionate about it, right? That he's going to get you to believe that it's green.
He should have been a lawyer.
Yeah. So, what were your thoughts on when UCW announced the VIP shows?
I was like, sweet, more shows. Well, I had a split thought about it because on one hand, I'm like, all right, sweet. Hopefully I can be on this show. There's another booking. But B, I thought it was funny because it was good that they gave these people the chance. But a lot of the times, the VIP portion of the show is not the... Alright, I'm not gonna... The matches on the VIP were not as aren't top quality matches, but the fact that they gave them the chance to like have an entire show like that, my first thought was like, man, this is not going to be good if they're on the bottom of the card. Why is the whole show happening like that? Like, we've gone back 3 steps for UCW, but it hasn't been the case. It hasn't been the case. My first thought was proved wrong. Because... And
honestly, it was mine too. I was like, no one's going to come.
Yeah.
Like, I thought... I don't know what's happening there. I thought, I mean, these kids are all really good, but there's not a single name on it, and I don't think that any fans are going to come, and couldn't have been more wrong. Right. I was happy I was more wrong.
I was like, wow. Yeah, I couldn't believe... Because it was... It's not bringing like 400, but there's like 200, 250, and they're at the Lions rink. So, and so the VIP show is doing way more amazing than I'd ever thought it would be. And I'm all for it. Let's go set up the ring. Let's go put out the posters. Like,
you were the first VIP champion. You were the first VIP champion. Lost the belt the next show, and then on the first actual VIP show, standalone, separate from the main show, you were the focal point of the poster, but you were just in a tag match on the show. Thoughts, memories of that? I thought you should have been in the main event of that show against Big T for the title. Because I know you weren't going to be on the next show because you were at Western Ontario somewhere.
In Ontario.
But I thought that should have been the rematch because you never got your rematch.
No, I never got my rematch.
What are your thoughts of that?
I think the idea with the poster, I don't know, I didn't need to be in the main event. They put me in a perfect spot because the show, I guess now, I'm looked upon as maybe past the VIP, so... Probably.
I would say so. I was surprised you were on in the first... I mean, I get why you were, but I was surprised that you were too.
So I was used as perfectly. That's where, when you're trying to push all like the newer guys, people that are newer than me, you don't need me running with the torch. You just need me to be like, turn the lights on so everybody can see you in the room. I was in a tag match, and I just did a lot of yelling and screaming, and I took one bump, and that's the way it's. No, I don't know. I was there. I feel it now. Like when now you know things, and you see people that may not know as much as you. You want to elevate them to bring you up to your level, so you can all be on the same level.
Good.
But I didn't need to be in the main event.
Would you have liked to have a longer run with that title, or did you were fine with just losing at the next show because you want to be on the main show anyway?
I think I won it.
Because there's been 3 shows and 3 shows and 2 different champions or something like that. 3 different champions, 4 shows, 3 different champions, something like that. I don't know. There's been 3 champions so far, not a lot of shows.
It was me, Big T,
and Casey.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel it's kind of cool because I felt like they'd be like, we're gonna put you on the poster to hype up the. I don't know how to say this without making me sound like.
They're using you to bring fans in.
Yeah, I guess so. That'd be the way to put it.
That's why you're on the poster. I mean, makes sense. You're the most well-known guy there by a mile.
And I think that's why I won it the first time. Be like, oh, well, this guy won it, so.
That's why I thought you should have been champion of the first standalone VIP show. Like, because Big T could have won the title from you from, like, at the very first show, right? That's what I thought.
Yeah, I would have liked to have wrestled Big T again.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the VIP is doing much well than anybody would have thought it was going to.
I agree. Now we got a couple fan questions here.
You got fans?
No, you got fans. I don't have fans. Fan questions for you.
Babe, plug the fan in.
From Zachary Murphy, when will you shave the pubes off your chin?
When I stop putting glue on my face when I go down on you.
Alright. Jeff Donnell. Mine's a 2-part question. First part. How did you end up training for wrestling, and what would you recommend to learn before going to a training class? We kind of already answered the first part, but what do you recommend learning before going to a training class?
Develop an amateur background. Yeah, go to amateur wrestling.
Tyler Langell asks, who is your dream opponent?
My dream opponent?
Anyone in the world.
If I could wrestle anybody, it would probably be... Ricochet. It'd be cool to wrestle Ricochet.
Ricochet, nice. Dave Boyce, Andre Manette, the answer, and Shelly Brown all wanted. Okay, Andre and Dave want you to put a shirt on. Shelly Brown wants to know why you're not wearing a shirt.
Because I just got home from work and my work has my symbols on it. I didn't want to tell you where I worked, so I took a shirt off, and it's my house, so I didn't feel like putting a shirt on.
And Cody Steele wants you to dance.
This one's for you, Kobe. I'm doing it wrong still.
What was it supposed to be?
I can't do it, so I couldn't show you.
Alright, let's go over here now.
Oh, I thought I should mention.
Yeah,
starting next week, you can purchase your very own YoungBlood Cody Blayde t-shirt at the Highfield Pharmasave. That's right, you can buy your YoungBlood Cody Blayde t-shirt at the Highfield Pharmasave in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. And coming soon...
You might be able to even buy it from Cody Blayde himself.
Yeah, I live down the street from there.
Who is the best wrestler you've ever seen?
Ooh. seen. Ooh. That's hard to... How do you put a best wrestler ever into one person?
Who's your favorite wrestler ever? If you were to say this,
let's give it to Dynamite Kid.
Dynamite Kid?
Alexander Prime is one of my dream opponents.
Alexander Prime?
Alexander Prime.
What are your thoughts on how social media has affected professional wrestling, both negatively, positively?
Well, positively in the way that, like, you can reach out to people and they can see you at, like, the click of a button. Like, I can tell people, and people across the country will know where I wrestled yesterday, just in an instant. So it's really good to get your name out there. Like, you can, it's so great. The fact that you can reach people on the other side of the world just through your cell phone, like at the palm of your hand, it's amazing. But at the same time, I hope you didn't want to watch Raw last night because all the. But then again, it doesn't help you if you do something you don't want anybody to know about. They're gonna know about it real quick. So it makes you kind of like stand in a straight line a little bit more. You can't get away with as much anymore because of the internet. Like, let's say that slapping money in the ear from asking if it was fake. Like, I couldn't get away with it then, can't get away with it now, but like there's so much. It's like you're always being filmed. There's like you can't do anything without
Sorry about that.
somebody catching you. So it's kind of bad that like it looks in closer on everybody. So any little bad little thing you could do, everybody could find out in an instant. But that is good in a good way too. When let's say you got these guys messaging people and then they're all over the internet, but at the same time it's like, take those Buffalo guys who I hope get well soon, for real, that those guys got in what happened to them, and within like a couple of hours, thousands, like all this money was raised for them. So that's
amazing.
It's really good in that benefit too.
Do you have any plans for yourself? I mean, you're still really young. You said you're 22. To like go overseas or go down to Mexico, Puerto Rico, Japan, anywhere else? Like,
oh man, I want to go to all those places, but I can tell you that as much as I want until I'm blue in the face doesn't make it happen. I don't.
Are you working towards that, or?
I would really like to go over to England. Like that would be the closer goal of objective. I really want to start messages with people over there. I don't know how much I can do because I've never been over there, but I would really like to get over to the UK. I'd really like to go to Ontario or Vancouver. If I were to go anywhere next, it's kind of my thing to move away and come back. So
for the fourth time.
For the fourth time.
Who's the loser leaves town match going to be against this guy?
I don't know. Who wants some? But I have a friend in Vancouver, Vancouver Island actually, Dylan Eagles. We cut each other one night. So he's been telling me to come visit him, and I really want to get out there, or just move to London, or the factory.
In Ontario?
Yeah.
That's where Duke's is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they're really close to the border.
Yeah. Really close to Detroit.
Yeah.
They do a lot of shows down there.
Cobo Hall.
Yeah.
Buffalo's really close there, and Grapplers Anonymous is there. And I met someone from New York. I don't know, I want to go train in as many places as possible.
Good.
And there's way more just across the border. And now that I have a valid passport, Ontario.
D-Man's out in LA.
Yes, he is. D-Man, I just was on a tour with D-Man not too long ago for CWF on the end of last November's fall tour. Yeah, Cody Diener and D-Man were on it, and yeah, that was a sweet tour. I learned a lot from Cody.
Nice. Do you have any closing comments for any fans, family, or friends that might be watching this?
Expect something new.
Do you have anything that you want to discuss that we haven't already talked about? Anything you want to plug? Upcoming shows or anything at all?
Yes. This Saturday, January 12th, for NSPW, I'll be wrestling Ivan Sullivan for the junior heavyweight title. And then on March 1st, I'll be wrestling Dynamite Dylan Davis for the NSPW Maritime Championship. And February 2nd, go over to Spryfield Lions Rink for the UCW VIP show.
March 2nd in
March
Halifax.
2nd is in Halifax.
Brian Cage? Is Brian Cage?
Is that the triple threat?
I don't know.
No. Brian Cage will be here.
Yeah, he'll be here March 1st and March 2nd
Yes.
for UCW.
I'll also
You're on
be
both
there.
those shows?
I'll also be there, but Brian Cage will be too.
Halifax Forum Multipurpose Center and I don't know where it is in Moncton now. Riverview.
Yeah.
Okay.
Riverview.
Switched. Check the poster, check the UCW Facebook page. All the information's there, right?
Yes, it is.
All right. Anything in closing?
Make sure you come to the next show, guys. Like I'm telling you. And if you guys are looking for a video, New Scott probably has it. He's got this one, so he's got everything.